好啦，咁啊，上次咧就睇咗6同埋7段啦，咁之後咧就做咗呢個填窿窿啊嘛。咁咧，如果咧再睇下面嘅題目咧，佢呢度話6至11，咁即係咧上次嘅6同7段咧已經可以做少少啦。咁所以咧未睇嘅朋友咧就睇翻之前條片啦。咁我哋而家可以做啦呢個。好，佢就話 an important concept that's not sufficiently taught。呢度咧第6段咧。係對翻咩咧？嗱，例如留意呢度 ，but in all likelihood you were taught nothing about。好，留意呢個位 ，you were taught nothing about， 即係咧冇學到一啲嘢啊。咁之後咧 ，an important concept that's not sufficiently taught， 係冇教到啊，冇學到啊。咁係咩啊？咪就係抄呢度位啦。咁咧，有好多嘅考生咧係抄咗全部啦，去到呢度位啦。咁係攞到分嘅，正常咧就唔係好配合佢個規則嘅，因為佢話 an important concept， 咁可能你覺得佢係一個 bundle 咁都可以嘅，咁咧就可以填呢度嘅嘢落去啦。咁啊或者就咁填呢個 statistics 啦，因為咧佢呢度咧佢係話 an important concept， 咁當然啦頭先我講嘅可以睇晒都得嘅，即係填晒都得嘅，係啦，我睇咗啲真跡係可以咧有分嘅。好就係咁咯。咁即係呢個 a positive income 正面嘅結果啦。咁啊睇咗6、7段嘅嘛，我哋上次。咁我哋可以留意咩咧？就係 saved 呢一個字啊，拯救，正正就係一個 positive outcome 啦。咁填咩啊？咪就係填 it has saved millions of lives。咁咧考官咧係唔會知 it 係咩噶嘛，所以千祈唔好用呢啲 pronoun 去答啊，一定要睇翻前一句。佢咧就話 the hole in our culture is gaping。Evidence-based medicine, the ultimate applied science, contains some of the cleverest ideas from the past 2 centuries. 好啦，咁所以呢個 it 咧就係指 evidence-based medicine has saved millions of lives. OK， 咁呢度咧，而家用啲時間咧抄埋先啦。OK， evidence-based medicine has saved millions of lives。 咁之後咧，我哋就可以睇埋其他嘅段落啦。好，今日咧就想做咗呢個表去啦。好，咁啊上次做到呢度，我哋睇下49呢條咧，一陣間我俾大家睇個答案咧，佢好低分嘅，但係其實我覺得呢條係好容易喎。What does the territory refer to？OK， 咁啊睇28，就係第8段啦。佢話啦 ，Before we get started, let me map out the territory。好啦，咁呢度咧你要留意咩咧？就係留意 paragraph 2啊。因為喺第2段嘅時候咧，佢話 Below is the introduction accepted from the book。呢本書咧叫做 Bad Science，OK，Ben Goldacre 寫噶啦。咁咧佢就話咧呢篇文咧就係個 introduction 嚟嘅，就係咁啦。咁喺我哋正式開始之前啊，咁佢就話咧睇先 ，sorry， 佢話 Before we get started, let me map out the territory。咁即係呢一頁啊係本書嘅 introduction。咁而家佢係 map out the territory， 咪就係咩啊？就係呢本書嘅 content 咯，往後嘅部分咯。咁你所以可以寫咧 the content of Bad Science of Ben Goldacre's book Bad Science 就係咁啦。OK， 睇下先啦。呢個 the content of Ben Goldacre's book， 咁啊寫埋啦。呢個 Bad Science。就係咁啦，呢個 map out the territory 俾大家知下我嘅 content。Chapter 1、2、3、4係講乜嘢啦？咁我哋咧就會帶你行一行路啦，即係睇一睇佢呢本書啦。就係咁啦，咁啊一陣間可以而家 show 啦，不如直接 show 下嗰個答案俾大家睇啦。49條咧，你會見到咧，佢係話 the rest of the book。The content of the book 都可以嘅。咁我睇嗰啲真跡係咁樣有分啦。留意係 4%。點解個證據要點啊？要睇翻第2段啦。頭先講 OK， 咁需要留意啦。佢都考過幾年㗎啦，即係講話佢曾經有一年咧，佢好似話點解呢一句個字係 capitalized 啊大草啊，咁就係呢本書嘅書名咁樣。佢經常係咁樣嘅，係啦，會考啲類似咁咁簿嘅唔同嘅部分，即係本書嘅唔同嘅部分啊咁樣。好啦，咁咧我哋就繼續睇下啦。不如呢個第9啦嚟啦。好，同樣啦，我讀。大家嘗試理解佢，我哋一齊去明白佢，深入咁去理解呢樣嘢係 我教學咁多年咧，一直推崇閱讀理解，最重要係後面嗰兩個字理解。Okay? Firstly, we will look at what it means to do an experiment, to see the final result with your own eyes, and judge whether they fit with a given theory or whether an alternative is more compelling. You may find going through these steps childish and patronizing. The examples we look at are certainly absurd, but they have all been promoted credulously and with great authority in the mainstream media. We will look at the attraction of sciencey-sounding stories about our bodies and the confusion they can cause. 好啦，咁咧，我哋睇一睇佢講咩咧？佢話咧喺我哋嗰本書啦，首先咧，我哋就會學一學做一個科學實驗 experiment。係點嘅 ？To see the final result with your own eyes， 咁啊睇下個結果啦，做呢個實驗 ，and judge whether they fit with a given theory， 係啦，咁啊配唔配合你嘅一個理論啦？實驗個結果配唔配合你個理論啦？或者其實第二個方法 A 唔符合啦，符唔符合 B 咧 ？An alternative 可能你更加有力。You may find going through these steps childish and patronizing， 係啦，咁佢話如果你讀科學嘅，咁我再講多次，我本書首先講呢啲咁基本嘅 BB 班嘅嘢，你就覺得好 patronizing 啦，即係咧好似咧同個小朋友講嘢咁樣，係啦，以一個高高在上嘅姿態咧去説教咁樣 patronizing 就係呢個意思啦，同埋咧好 childish， 哇好小兒科啫喎，你寫本咁嘅書。The examples we look at are certainly absurd 呢個字咧即係 ridiculous 啦，荒謬啊。But they have all been promoted credulously 係啦，有力地 and with great authority in the mainstream media 係啦。好 ，we look at the attraction of sciencey sounding， 唔係真係 scientific 啦 ，sciencey sounding 聽落好 scientific。Stories about our bodies， 關於我哋身體 and the confusion they can cause。好，咁啊，睇下做唔做到呢題啦。呢個咧就要睇埋 paragraph 11。An unreliable source of information。Source of information 就係資料嘅源頭，佢係負面嘅 unreliable 不可靠的。咁我哋咧頭先咧呢度咧就第6同埋第6嘅，因為睇 statistics 嗰位啦，或者有照抄嘛，話有啲同學照抄都有分啊嘛。咁啊，另外嘅 saved 啦，咁頭先我哋睇7、8、9，咁做唔做到呢題咧 ？An unreliable source of information。資料嘅源頭，好啦，咁咧就睇一睇第9啊，我哋頭先 unreliable 呢個字係負面嘅，寫低咗。咁 absurd 呢個字咧解荒謬啊 ，ridiculous、ludicrous 都係負面嘅，係啦。我哋會留意嘅嗰啲例子咧係好荒謬嘅。咁但係呢啲咁荒謬嘅嘢咧 have been promoted in the mainstream media。咁所以個不可靠嘅資料嘅源頭咧。咁肯定可以做呢個係一個答案啦 ，mainstream media 咁就可以抄啦。OK，mainstream media 就係咁啦。講多次 ，unreliable 對翻咧 absurd 呢個字，成句睇 source of information 就係 mainstream media。好啦，咁我哋再睇啦。An example of pseudo-science, a fatal outcome。fatal 咧同義詞係 deadly， 致命的。咁我哋呢一度咧就6之後就9，咁而家佢話10、11，肯定有啲答案係11或者10，唔知。咁睇一睇先。睇實啦。Interestingly, our next focus is homeopathy。OK， 呢個自然療法 ，which Wikipedia declares as a pseudo-science that works. We will look at this not because it's important or dangerous. It's not.It's neither important nor dangerous, but because it's the perfect model for teaching evidence-based medicine and how we can be misled into thinking that any intervention is more effective than it really is. 好啦，咁我哋咧，睇完呢一啲 experiment 嘅嘢啦，同埋啲媒體嘅一啲 absurd examples， 可能 chapter 2咧就係關於呢個 homeopathy。Wikipedia 咧就宣稱咧就係一個偽科學。但係咧 ，ironically 咧，佢又係有效喎，有 works 嘅喎。We look at this not because it's important。咁啊，呢個唔係好重要，唔係好 important， 唔係好 well known 嘅呢個 homeopathy，or dangerous， 亦都唔係太危險嘅。It's not 唔係 important， 亦都唔係 dangerous。但係咧 ，it's a perfect model for teaching evidence-based medicine。但係即係佢就好重視呢個 evidence-based medicine 啦。 咁 homeopathy 就唔係呢樣嘢啦。And how it can be misled into thinking 被誤導啊 into thinking that any intervention is more effective than it really is。好，咁咧好簡單啊呢個。An example of pseudo-science， 只要留意呢個 pseudo-science 嘅關鍵字，對翻第10段咧，留意到 pseudo-science， 咁俾個例子係咩啊？大家都即刻答到咯，就係 next focus 嘅 homeopathy 照抄。好，咁咧寫啦 homeopathy。好，咁我哋咧睇多段咧，11咧就可以做埋50同埋 E， 咁咧呢條片就差唔多啦。咁我哋可以繼續啦，繼續嚟。哇，第11應該可以做多少少，係啊，應該可以做到睇下先。係啦，50啦 E 啦，同埋咧做埋52啊，52呢條 MC 啊。好嚟啦，睇下。Then we'll move on to bigger fish. Some alternative therapists claim to be nutritionists and have somehow managed to brand themselves as men and women of science. Their errors are interesting because they have a grain of science to them, and that makes them not only more interesting, but also more dangerous, because the real threat is not that their customers might die, there is the odd case, but that they systematically undermine the public's understanding of the very nature of evidence. 好啦，個 bigger fish 呢個咧係個 metaphor 嚟嘅，係解咧呢個 greater threats 大啲嘅一個威脅啦。佢呢個咧11段咧要同第10段一齊睇啦。第10段咧佢突然間講啊，佢講明啊，佢話呢個 homeopathy 咧係咪 dangerous？It's not， 唔係 dangerous 嘅。咁真正 dangerous 咧就係呢個 alternative therapist， 呢個另類嘅治療師。就係呢個嘅飲呢個叫營養學家啊，佢話 and have somehow managed to brand themselves 係啦 as men and women of science。咁咧佢咧就係一個識得科學嘅一個行業啦。佢哋 brand themselves。OK，their errors are interesting because they have a grain of science to them。grain 呢個字咧平時會跟例如沙咧，沙灘上嘅沙係數唔到嘅，即係我哋可以話一粒沙、兩粒沙，但係 grain of sand 咧就係一堆一紮沙咁啊。grain of science 即係少少，即係話佢哋都識少少科學嘅。They have a grain of science to them。咁但係咧都會犯咗啲 errors，咁就咧令到呢件事好神奇。And that makes them not only more interesting but also more dangerous。咁就危險啦。OK， 因為佢宣稱佢識得science 啦，咁但係咧就會犯錯嘅。Because the real threat is not the customers might die。個真正嘅威脅咧就唔止係佢嘅 customers 有機會會死亡，因為犯錯啦，亦但係咧會係損害公眾對於 evidence 呢樣嘢嘅理解。好，就係咁啦，大概。咁咧，我哋睇一睇呢句先啦。不如即刻攞咗個分先啦。A fatal outcome。fatal 咧頭先講係 deadly 寫埋。deadly 咧嘅致命的係啦，咁啊 fatal accident、car accident 就係解呢個致命交通意外啦。好，咁啊致命啊嗱，頭先呢個 positive outcome 就 saved millions of lives。呢個 fatal outcome 係咩咧？致命的咁梗係對個死亡呢個字啦。咁呢度咧有兩個答案都可以嘅，就係咧有一啲 nutritionists 嘅 customers 有機會會死亡，可以抄呢個嘅。咁但係咧，你見到呢度咧，佢亦都講 the real threat is not 呢樣嘢 ，but that 咁呢個又可以喎。They systematically undermine the public understanding of the very nature of evidence。同樣地啦，不能夠寫 they 改卷嗰個唔知你講邊個㗎，你唔可以寫 he 同 she 嘅。你第一次嘅話，答案一定要講清楚係咪？咁所以呢個 they 咧，你就可以對翻前一句啦。咁就係可能 alternative therapists 或者 nutritionists。都可以啦，好就係咁啦。咁我就寫呢個啦。OK， 咁啊 customers might die 噶咯。好，咁啊某一啲啦，唔係所有啦。Some customers of nutritionists 或者 alternative therapists。咁考試梗係唔可以抄呢度啦，冇分嘅下面。因為咧佢過咗個空格咧就冇分噶啦，你一定要填翻喺裏面啦。咁樣嘅教學，好就係咁啦。咁我哋即刻睇一睇呢一個框嘅答案先啦。嗰個合格率咧，睇下先，第51。好，咁啊第一個咧 你可以寫 death, risk, statistics, science that would kill or cure you。OK， 一紮寫晒又得，其中一個又得。不過咧最好咧，當然係寫一個咯，因為佢呢度講明 and important 啫嘛。咁我哋跟足佢規矩，無論 paper 1 to 4都係。好啦，之後咧 evidence-based medicine saved millions of lives， 照抄啦，講過唔可以用個 it。OK， 個 saved 咧咁就對翻個 positive 呢個字啦。Unreliable source of information， 咁啊有唔同嘅答案都可以接受，其中一個咧就係 mainstream media， 頭先講咗就係 unreliable 咧對翻 absurd 嗰個嘅嗰個荒謬啊個負面嘅字。Pseudo-science 嘅 example 好容易 homeopathy， 咁啊加埋呢個 some customers of alternative therapists might die。好，咁啊我哋睇埋呢個 which phrase 就唔係 word。OK， 即係咧係一個詞組嚟嘅，多過一個字嘅。Does goat egg use in paragraph 11 to refer to alternative therapists？ 好啊，咁第一句 topic sentence 啊就講咗啦，佢哋係 bigger fish， 照抄咪 bigger fish 咯。OK， 咁點解 bigger fish 啊？點解係 intimidating 啊？點解係 threatening 啊？就係因為佢識 science， 咁但係咧令到人哋信咗佢，但係其實有機會犯咗呢啲嚴重錯誤，咁所以呢個 bigger fish 就係答案。好，就係咁。後俾大家睇埋先，50條嘅答案 bigger fish 係啦。咁啊 by the way， 而家 past paper 咧喺書局咧似乎好似要訂啊，冇得直接買咯。咁所以咧或者係考評局去攞咯，去買咯。咁每一科都係咁啊。咁啊睇埋啦，52啦 ，What makes the errors more dangerous？ 咁啊頭先嗰段啦，第11段啦，答案係咩咧？係啦，好。咁啊個 dangerous more dangerous， 咁啊都係要留意頭先最尾嗰度啦，就係 more dangerous because OK， 咁啊出答案噶咯，佢就話咧 not， 咁即係唔使睇呢句啦 ，but that 就係呢句啦。Alternative therapists systematically undermine the public's understanding of the very nature of evidence. The public's understanding of evidence is eroded. Eroded 對翻個 undermine 個字，侵蝕。所以答案就係 B 啦。好，搞掂，俾大家睇埋52條，答案就係 boy。OK，reading 最緊要深入理解。